Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Good morning. It's early. The kids are eating breakfast, getting ready for school, and I realize that I filled my day so full that this is really the only time that I could carve out to do this podcast. Do we not do the podcast? No, we do it. We just do it in our bedroom with our messy hair. My teeth are brushed though. You're welcome. Okay, so we're fresh off the eclipse. How was that for you? Kind of a nightmare for me. There was some identity theft, well, not identity theft, a scam that was very stressful. And it just made me think so much around the truth and our intuition and how we activate it, because this eclipse has been all about letting go of perfectionism, letting go of the shoulds, letting go of the needing to do. And when your to-do list gets too long, gets too big, that then this Pisces energy can get overwhelmed and can make bad choices and can get scammed and can let themselves down. Gosh, you guys, I think that is the presiding feeling that is living in me right now, is that feeling that I let myself down. And that's such a Virgo Pisces axis emotion. And maybe this week you have felt like you have let yourself down. Or maybe we're all in a perpetual state. Make sure that works. A perpetual state of letting ourselves down. And I think that the medicine here is that sometimes we have to let ourselves down in a bigger way so that we can forgive ourselves in a bigger way, so that we can move forward, hopefully, in a bigger way. But please feel free to comment under any of these platforms how the eclipse was for you. So curious how it affects other people, because we all deal with different astrological energies differently. Some people love Virgo Pisces, some people hate it, some people have huge transformation points where this eclipse was happening and where all of the eclipses are happening, and some people don't. And I know that no matter what, we can feel it collectively. I know that no matter what, it is everywhere. And no matter what, we are felt in these times. And I just want you to take a minute and take a deep breath on this early morning and think about what is living inside of you right now. What is up for review right now? What does the subject matter? The fixations, the things that just won't seem to go to bed inside of you. I think getting to the core of those things that live inside of us is the medicine to hard astrology. That anytime it feels as though we keep butting up against the same problems or the same self-loathing or the same issues, only they look kind of different, but they aren't. And if you can just find the pattern of the issue, it usually is inside you. It usually is something that lives unhealed inside of you. And now not everything is meant to heal, and not everything is a fairy tale, and not everything ends happily ever after. But I would argue that especially the times when it doesn't end happily ever after is the time for growth, is the time to rescue ourselves, is the time to create a new paradox, a new paradigm around not understanding what it is, around not knowing. I think so many of us try to literalize everything instead of trying to feel into it without having to hold on so tight, without having to define it. The undefined world can be a very scary thing, and that's what this eclipse season is trying to build up inside of us. But in order to do that, sometimes we have to go against ourselves. Sometimes we have to go against our intuition. Sometimes we have to make bad decisions in order to say, oh, my body knew that wasn't something I should have been doing, and I did it anyway, and now consequences. So welcome to the week. Welcome Monday. There's a lot going on. It's the equinox. Happy equinox. And it is the descent into those darker times. It is the descent into what feels like it needs respite. And so my biggest advice to you this week is to rest, 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 rest. Take as much off your calendar as you can. Find some part of yourself that can say no, that can say, I'm going to sleep in this 5 extra minutes, that says I don't need to work myself into a tizzy, I can take a hot minute. I think I'm a big fan this week of taking a hot minute, of just, even if you're busy, even if there's nothing you can take off your plate, you can take a hot minute. Anybody can do that, and take a deep breath and feel into what's alive inside of you. Because I often think we forget to feel what's living inside of us. And so we act outside of ourselves, of what's actually dying around us. And fall is such an interesting season because I know there's seasonal affective disorder. There's people who get depressed when it gets dark. And that's information. It's information for our bodies that when things go dark and we don't have the distraction of the outdoors the same way, or the sunshine, or the ability to see the light, how we produce it inside of ourselves. So it's Libra season. There's been a lot of introspection, a lot of thinking, a lot of clarity, a lot of trying to figure things out. And now it's about how we're going to relate it inside of us and outside of us. There is this duality going on when Libra season comes into play, because yes, focus on the self, take the hot minute, but then also start to feel the energy around you, the people around you, what's harmonious, what's not, what's working, what doesn't. So the same day the sun goes into Libra, which is all about partnership, it's all about justice, it's all about balance. Also too, Mars goes into Scorpio, and Mars is very powerful in Scorpio. Mars is our warrior. Scorpio's intense. So what is in your tent? What is feeling intense? And the way I like to see this is with Scorpio in this warrior planet, having this dance together, what really matters? Because Scorpio is about authenticity. What really matters, high velocity, like it's gonna happen if I say it is. You know, Scorpio would say that's not a threat, it's a promise. And that's kind of dope for Mars because Mars has had to, you know, be a little confused. Mars has had to work around a lot as of late. When Mars was in Cancer, he had a baby tantrum. So Mars feels very empowered in this sign. And then with the sun also in Libra, and also, you know, having the ability to hold two things is true. That's so Scorpio Libra, that the things can be great, but things can also be intense. That things can be horrible, but also life can be beautiful. What a terrible world, what a beautiful world. I really feel that axis when I think into what's happening today. So Monday can already be a little bit hard. It's hard to get up. It's hard to get to work. It's hard to, you know, let go of the weekend. However, there is a desire, a longing, and whatever has been a long withstanding hold space inside of you, a desire, a longing inside of you is going to be a little bit louder this week. It's going to make some noise. There's going to be some fanfare. There's going to be some inkling, because Scorpio is water and can be very empathetic. It can be very feeling. It can be very like not just regular feeling. Not just like I'm overly sensitive, but like deep, deep, deep down feeling into the guts of yourself. And if that is in Mars, which is our warrior, which is what sticks up for us, what are you going to go down there and bring up and out? And then Libra says, how are you going to relate it? How are you going to balance it? How are you going to integrate it? How are you going to find your co-warriors to succeed in it? It is a mission, and we can succeed at it together. And even if you aren't a highly social person, the collective energy is out there to work with. So then Tuesday, the sun is doing a lot. It's going to be opposing Neptune. So things aren't going to be as clear. I think you can already hear that energy. My words aren't rattling off as easily as they usually do because girl loves to talk. But here I am, you know, tripping over myself. This sun opposing Neptune. What it is we're trying to do is opposing that dreamy dream space of, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm kind of tired. I don't really want to. I would rather just have a rest, which surely I think a lot of us would. But then it's going to make this beautiful trine at the same time time on Tuesday to Uranus and Pluto. So it's resistance against the unfelt world coming into a positive aspect, though, with our planet of big change and our planet of big transformation. So there is a conversation. There is more inklings. There is more this week, more information, more to do, more to change, more to transform. We'll see it play out on the bigger scale, but I don't like to focus too much on what's happening on the bigger outside world, because in my estimation, especially in astrology, we should be using it to change and be our own catalysts. And so within this energy, it is the chance to transform and change potentially a dream space that's been hard for us to access before. We butt up against it. We feel maybe a little fuzzy, a little tired, a little blah, but then all of a sudden this rush of information, or this rush of change, or this rush of a knock on our door that is asking us to transform comes too. And that's making a positive aspect. So the more that we're willing to surrender to the cause, willing to say, whatever it takes. That's so Mars and Scorpio. Whatever it takes, and who are my allies? Sun and Libra. So then Wednesday, this warrior guy is going to make a hard aspect, a square to Pluto. So, that's tough. Change is tough. Transformation is tough. Pluto gives us oftentimes only the stuff that feels incredibly scary, incredibly triggering, incredibly brick wall-like inside of us. But as I said, that Mars in Scorpio, bad ass. There is a badass energy that is like, I don't care. I don't care if it's hard. I don't even care if I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to get my hands in it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get messy, and I'm going to get dirty, and life is going to get crazy for a little while. And then maybe when the chips land, I'll be somewhere new. And I think the only time we can get to somewhere new is when we're willing to face something inside of ourselves or outside of ourselves that is beyond our current capacity, that we must lean in to what is itchy, to what doesn't feel good, to what we don't really want to do. I think that that's the hardest lesson when you go from adolescence to adult, is that you're faced with so many things that you don't always want to do. I don't necessarily want to be doing a podcast I don't even know what time it is, 7 o'clock in the morning, when my kids are probably not getting ready for school when they need to be, and I'm probably creating a domino effect of a shit show. However, wherever that shit show is going to play out in my day is going to be information, because I still committed to this cause that I have to be here every Monday, to speak about what's relevant, to not pre-record these things, to stay as up to date on the energy as I possibly can, and to meet you guys in your current states, in your current realities. It's very important to me. And so does that mean it's going to be easy to accomplish that every single week? No. Does it mean that it's less important? No. Everything that we choose to derive meaning from is meaningful, absolutely. So this week, it is very important that you are choosing what is meaningful, that you are leaning into what feels hard, that you are accepting the fact that if you want something different, you have to be different. You have to do the work. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to get into that very scorpionic energy of being willing to access your traumas, of being willing to access what is private inside of you and start digging it out. Oh my God, have you guys ever had to clean out a drain? It's disgusting. There's black gunk. What are disgustingness, our hair and our spit and our toothpaste and our whatever coagulates into those drains. And when you start cleaning them out and all that muck, that's us too. We get that way too. We get the spiritual muck inside of us because we don't do the spring cleaning the way that we should, probably, or as often as we should, or how often are you changing your sheets? Don't ask me. When it feels weird, that's when I change my sheets. Sorry, Virgos. We're out of Virgo season now, okay? So get off my back. My bed's unmade. It'll be made. I have a high standard about making the bed every morning, but here we are in imperfect space together. And I think that is what the eclipse taught us. that we do it anyway, even if we can't do it perfectly. That as long as we're coming from our hearts, as long as we are projecting our truest self and our truest values, that the next step will show us the way at some point. Sometimes we just have to get scammed. Sometimes we just have to really let ourselves down. Sometimes we just have to really self-loathe, get real dirty with it to finally clean it up and be like, all right, no more of this. I can move forward. But only after enough has happened that I've learned the lesson. You hear it all the time. Why does this always happen to me? What is the thing that always happens to you? I want you to ask yourself that question. What's the theme in your life? Because we all have different heroes' journeys. We're all here to succeed and fail at different things. And if you can pinpoint the thing that's hard for you, well, that's half the battle, because that's your hero's journey. The thing that always happens to you, or the feeling that you can't ever seem to shake or get rid of, that is the thing that we have to press into. That is the place we have to get very uncomfortable with. And that is the thing that needs to transform in order for us to get the thing that we really want, that we struggle against, that we think, why hasn't it happened yet? Why not me? And the universe never says, not you. The universe always says, are you ready? So are you? Are you ready? And I think that's what this week is going to answer for a lot of us. Some of us aren't ready. Not all of us evolve. Not all of us get what we want, and not all of us achieve what we want, because we aren't willing to get uncomfortable enough, and we aren't willing to transform enough to get to that big cookie. But even if we can't reach the big cookie in this life, whatever that is to you, there's so many cookies. There's so many little things that the world all around us all the time is actually a miracle. We just are so used to seeing it that it doesn't seem as much to us these days. That as the darkness comes in, it's harder to find the color, the rich hues of spring that gives us growth, that gives us all of those things. But don't forget that fall is its own color, that the beautiful colors of the dying things are just as valuable, that it's just as important to be really digging into what hurts as it is to be really enjoying what doesn't. Both need to be true. And here's Libra season to say, how are we going to balance those two things of work and play, of pain and ease, of joy and sorrow, that all of those things experienced all the way through are a process that grows us, learns us, and helps us become who we are. But if we aren't willing to feel some of the things all the way through, then it gets stuck down the line, right here, right in our solar plexus, right where it's a sucker punch. And then comes the, why does this always happen to me? The punch that always happens, the proverbial punch of your life. And I would argue that that punch is a feeling that has never been felt all the way through. That it gets to a place inside of us and we stop it, and then we victimize it, and then we don't work through it. And so what is that inside of you? What is that? I can't find love. I can't reach my career goals. I can't. Where is those I can'ts? And where does it live inside you? And how do you, I dare ask, let yourself down? Because we all do it, and we're all gonna do it. And that's just part of being human. It's then how we get back up from it. It's how we allow ourselves to hate that, to feel that, to mourn that, and then move through that. We forget about the moving through it. We get stuck somewhere along the line, and everybody is stuck somewhere. And so it's a really great week to think about where you're stuck. And the card I pulled is Treasure Island. Yep, Treasure Island. That there are treasures. You can see the treasure, the turtle brought that treasure up on itself. But where was the treasure? Well, that bitch was in the depths. She was hiding deep down, and it's full of color and richness and your next chapter. But you know where it is? It's down there. It's down there somewhere really ouchy inside of you that doesn't want to be touched, that's being guarded by the ancient turtles that have all of the knowledge of what you need to do to get there. And if you access them, if you access that very wise part of yourself, that soul, if you believe in that, that has been in iteration upon iteration, life upon life, soul upon soul, if you can access that deeper part of yourself to heal that ancestral side of yourself, up comes the treasure and out comes the goal that has yet to be met. And maybe it is a goal you never could have guessed. Maybe it is a plot twist that is even better than your highest achievement dream right now. So, trusting in the unfelt. That's what this Pisces eclipse has taught us in a pretty rough way. I'm feeling rough this morning. I hope you're doing good. Please like, comment, share. Tell me how your eclipse season's going. You need a tarot reading, I gotcha. You need a Astro vibe, I gotcha. Please reach out. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. I'll see you next week.